This could be interesting. So far, I can see why this would not be a popular time for a webinar. Everyone is on holiday today and right now. If you are watching in the future, this is Easter weekend. And I just got it there. There we go. Hi, Giacomo. Hi. So say hi and tell me, where are you writing from? I'm laughing because I know where you're writing from, but the other people logged on right now don't know either. So hi, say hi in the comments and tell me, where are you writing from? Giacomo, turn the volume down a little bit. I can hear myself. Thank you. Ah, so Giacomo is writing from Milano. Oh, nice. I am also in Milano. I think you knew that though. If we have any other viewers, can you tell me, where are you writing from? Where are you watching from? Ah, Giacomo, can you tell me, where are you from? I suppose we could make dinner plans for other viewers. The commenter named Giacomo is my husband. I've asked him to be here on this webinar so that he can learn English, but also so that I would not be all by myself um, doing this. So let's talk about our favorite topic in Italy. What should we have for dinner? What should we make for dinner? Giacomo is from Rome. Don't forget to use English when speaking English, although I don't always use the English pronunciation. Sometimes I say Napoli because I live here now. Sometimes I say Rome instead of Roma, or Roma instead of Rome when I'm speaking English. Although I noticed that the other English teachers, generally speaking, try to use the anglicized names because we use them for, in general, anglicized names for cities generally, like Frankfurt instead of Frankfurt. That's a terrible example. Munich instead of München. That's a good example. So generally speaking, we anglicize for other countries, but because we live here, who knows? I wrote that in the comments. So Giacomo, what are we eating for dinner? When I am done with this webinar, what are we making? If you are not Giacomo, tell me in the comments, what are you making for dinner? I would love to hear about what you're eating. That is a nice topic to ease us into what looks like an actually very difficult lesson, but it will be enjoyable. So while we're waiting for comments, any comments, I'm going to put up the lesson. So today, Today we're talking about good advice and giving advice. So we'll be talking about dealing with problems, giving advice, gerunds, and infinitives. If you are watching, can you tell me, give me an example. What is a gerund and what is an infinitive? I will give you a second to do that. So what is a gerund and what is an infinitive? Give me two examples. We have an update on dinner. I do not know. Uh, would you, or do you want, sorry, sweetie, do you want something rich or easy? I want both. I would like both. Um, we have ricotta and we have asparagus. Let's make pasta with crema di asparagi or pasta with asparagus cream. How does that sound? Pasta with asparagus cream? Oh, I'm so hungry. Why did I sign up to do a webinar at 8 o'clock on a Friday before a holiday? Because I like you, viewer. I do. So give me an example. What is a gerund and what is an infinitive? I'm still waiting. It sounds lovely. Okay, that is what we're having for dinner. Pasta con crema di asparagi. Yay! Hi, Lavinia. Oh, you're also in Milan. We're neighbors. I teach at the Milano Filzi Mies School. Yes, it's nice to see you. Oh, Giacomo, you're married to an English teacher. I'm sorry, but I do not remember the difference between a gerund and an infinitive. I'm so bad at grammar. And yet your sentence structure is perfect. How is that? A gerund, an example, it's verb, ing. A gerund is like going, skiing, swimming, verb ing. An infinitive, infinitive is the base form of the verb, to go. I'm typing that. So verbing is a gerund. The base form, to go, to sleep, to eat, are infinitives. Notice that use to. In these exercises, we'll talk a little bit about gerunds and two types of infinitives, which you are probably already familiar with. The bare infinitive, which is the infinitive without to. So go, eat, sleep. And then infinitives with to. So you will get a grammar lesson and a lot of really boring advice. I have to admit, the advice in this is very boring. It's very sensible. And I would generally recommend that we do funny, terrible advice, things that make people laugh. Some examples of bad advice that I've seen on the internet. I have one very good one. If you see someone and they're crying and they look very, very upset, go to them and ask, "Mm, oh, I see. Are you crying because of your haircut? It's the haircut, isn't it?" Waiting for laughter. Yeah. Moving forward, dealing with problems. What do you do when you have a problem? Do you speak to someone for advice or deal with it alone? Who do you turn to for advice and why? Do people turn to you for advice? What's the best advice you've gotten? And what is the worst advice you've gotten? Tell me in the comments. Answer these questions. So, number one, what do you do when you have a problem? Do you speak to someone for advice or deal with it alone? And I want to hear your responses, but I will tell you what I do. I try to look for as many solutions as I can find. I want a lot of options when I have a problem or when I want to learn something new or try something new. These are things like saving for retirement. What is the best way to do that? Investing. These are financial. So investing. Not where is the best place to invest money, but how do I do it properly in a way that is risk averse? Um, Risk averse means I do not want to risk my money. So I try to get a lot of options. And then once I know as much as I can find, I make a decision. So a little bit of everything. And I do try to ask my friends and my family for advice. But generally speaking, I have learned the hard way that sometimes advice is not always the best thing to follow. I will give you an example. So here's what I said. Risk averse means um, I do not like to take risks, especially not with my money. I earn too little. So tell me in the comments, what do you do when you have a problem? Do you speak to someone for advice or deal with it alone? Tell me, tell me, tell me. I want to know. Yes, Lavinia. Oh, I ask my parents or my friends for advice. Yeah. Do they give good advice, Lavinia? Do they give you advice that is worth following? Giacomo, I usually talk with my wife and my friends. It's true. It's true, you do. Yeah, that seems sensible to ask other people for advice. How about number two? Who do you turn to for advice and why? Or do people turn to you for advice? In my experience, people will give you advice whether or not you ask. They give me advice, but then I always have doubts. Is it because their advice is not what you would follow? Uh, or you could say bad advice. They give bad advice. I know with my friends and family, they generally give terrible advice. They give the worst advice. And I try really hard to be conscious of not asking too much. How about your family and your friends? Do they give good advice? Oh, I see. Yeah. I see. Yes. In a lot of ways, me too. Lavinia says, no, because I'm a person who thinks too much. And I see, I can see that. I feel that way often. So I like all the information that I can have. And I like to make simple decisions. How about number three? What's the best advice you've gotten? And what is the worst? The best advice you've gotten, and what is the worst? I know that every time I make a very large decision, people advise me not to do it. Every single time they say stop and wait and think about it more. And every time I followed that advice, it has been terrible. It has been the wrong choice for me. So, uh, the worst advice you could give someone is just wait, unless they want to marry someone they've known for less than a year. That is valid advice. But for most other things, you know the correct path and you know the bad path. And I say, do what you want to do what is right for you, because people will give you the advice that hurts less. It is non-confrontational, so hurts less, non-confrontational. They'll give you advice that's what they would do. People give advice that hurts less, is non-confrontational, or is what they would do. I wrote that down. Is non-confrontational. So confrontation. Can you tell me what that means? What is confrontation? And I will take a comment. I hate when people start a sentence with, I don't mean to offend you, but you should change your hair color. I suggest you change your clothes because you don't look so good. Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. I understand. This fills me with rage. I want to say so many bad words, but I am a professional. It is the worst. Ugh. I wrote that down. This fills me with rage. But yeah, no one has any right to tell you how to dress, how you should dress, or to tell you what hair color you should have. No one has any right because it is your body and your choice. Do you agree, Lavinia? That is my advice. Don't listen to anyone. Do what makes you happy, especially when it concerns your looks. Because yeah, I hear that often too. It's like, oh, maybe you should dress a little better. No, no, I like how I dress. It's comfortable. um, I am saying this specifically because I am the sort of person who does not wear high heels and I do not dye my hair. Um, so I don't wear shoes that are tall and I don't color my hair. And those two things apparently are so offensive to other people. I mean, why? Why would they be offensive to anyone? They're my problems. They're what make me special. I want to keep these things. I honestly, oh, I have good advice. The best advice I've ever gotten: don't care what people think of you. Or a better way to say that, stop caring what people think about you. Good advice. Bad advice. If a bear is charging you, run toward it and give it a hug. Bears can't claw their stomachs. Charging means attacking. If a bear is attacking you, run toward it and give it a hug. Bears can't claw their stomachs. That is bad advice. That is very bad advice. Do not follow this advice. Good advice: stop caring what people think of you. It makes the world so much better. If you have any bad advice, let me know in the comments. Oh, yeah. Lavinia says this is advice without this is advice we can understand after a certain age because when you are an adolescent, it's hard to understand. Yeah, yeah, I've learned this very recently, and I am not an adolescent, but it took a very long time. Yeah, not caring about people's opinion, not the bears. Do you have any examples of bad advice? That was funny. So, yeah. Wait. Okay, so if a bear is charging you, give it a hug. This is advice we can only understand after a certain age. Yeah, it has to do with the bear. Absolutely. It's still good advice. Tell me in the comments, do you have any examples of bad advice? Meanwhile, we have a challenge. Um, this is a fill in the blanks exercise. Giacomo, you stop commenting. I'm going to need you to fill this out. So tell me in the comments 1 and then the answer, 2 and then the answer, 3 and then the answer. Okay. Let me read. Choose the correct form of the word to finish the advice. So you have 3 choices: the bare infinitive, the infinitive with to, or ing, the gerund form. You have to conjugate these verbs or not, or don't conjugate them, to fit in the sentences. So we have rock the boat, find out, get back, be passive, tell, neglect, think, and dwell. Those are your choices. So we have number 1. You should, what's really bothering you? What's really bothering your friend? You should. What's really bothering your friend? You mustn't. Those closest next to you. So the 1 and 2, I'm going to give you a hint. Should and mustn't are modals. And what comes after a modal verb? You should, you mustn't. That is your hint. Number 3, it's not good about your career. Take action and speak up. Number 4, I'd avoid hugging a bear. That's the answer. I'd avoid unless it's absolutely necessary. I'd have to, you on that. It's quite a complicated problem. Number 5, I'd have to on that. Number 6, another modal. You should, him, to give you some space if you feel suffocated. Suffocated means you can't get any air. You are having trouble breathing. To suffocate is to stop someone from breathing. I'd advise you, it over. Stop on the past. I think the most difficult one is the last one because it is a bit of an idiom. And let's see. Let me go back to these comments here. Yes. Okay, so number 1, you should tell. No, Lavinia had it right. You should find out. Nice. Okay, you should find out What's really bothering your friend? Number 2, you mustn't. We have neglect. You mustn't neglect those closest to you, but we also have another totally legitimate answer. Tell. You mustn't tell those close to you. No. That is funny though. Great job, guys. Oh, we have a question. Federica Famoso, what does dwell mean? Dwell means to live. But this is a small hint. It is part of an idiomatic phrase. Um, and it should make sense. I think it makes sense. So dwell means to live. So we have number 3, being passive. It's not good. It's not the gerund form though, but you do have the right the right verbs. Being passive. It's not good. And let me make sure that yeah, it's not good. But let's check the answer because I might be wrong on this. Nope. Yeah. To be passive. After certain adjectives, after many adjectives, for example, it's easy to start learning. We use the infinitive with to, so after adjectives. So we're on number 3. Number 4, do I see an answer to number 4? Excellent, yes. It is to be passive. Great job, Lavinia. Number 4. Thank you, Giacomo. It's rocking the boat. I'd avoid for rocking the boat. Giacomo, what does rocking the boat mean? I'm going to keep doing this until you tell me. This is fun. Rock the boat. I don't want to be taken down for copyright infringement. Don't rock the boat, baby. Thanks, sweetie. So don't, I'd avoid rocking the boat unless it's absolutely necessary. Rocking the boat or to rock the boat. There we go. Make the boat roll or shake. So I guess I can only imagine its literal meaning. Right. Spelling of literal, 1T. Thanks, sweetie. So to rock the boat, if you're in a boat and you rock it too hard, you capsize. So capsize, crash a boat, sink. It's to crash or sink a boat. To capsize is to crash or sink a boat. If you rock a boat too much, literally speaking, it will capsize. It is a phrase, though, that we say, don't rock the boat too much. That means don't make a big deal of this. Don't complain too much. So rock the boat equals complain, protest, make a big deal of. I'd avoid complaining unless it's absolutely necessary. I'd avoid protesting. Rock the boat. Does it mean everything is good for you? Nope. Oh, don't forget the verb does for this question. Does rock the boat mean everything is good for you? Nope. Um, it means complain, protest, make a big deal of. But I think there's a lag, so you'll see it a second time. Yeah, but that is a good question. It is a good guess as well. Thank you, Federica. So number 5, I'd have to you on that. It's quite a complicated problem. This is another verb phrase. It's a phrasal verb, I guess. Phrasal verb. I'd have to, it's very commonly used, especially in the business world. Let me to you on that. Do we have any guesses for number 5? These are very difficult. And then number 6, you should. This one's a nice one because it's, I hear the wrong verb quite a bit when people are speaking. They usually say. Ah, Lavinia. Yes. Yes. I'd have to get back to you on that. And Giacomo, thank you. I'd have to get back to you on that. It's quite a complicated problem. Number 6, you should. I hear a wrong thing a lot. You should say him. No. To tell is to recount, which sounds like the Italian. Tell. You should tell him to give you some space if you feel suffocated. Really patient there. I'd advise you to it over. What am I doing? I look silly. I'd advise you to waiting for an answer. And then stop. We have one final, so stop. And it was Federica's question. We're going to use dwell here, but we're not using that form. We're using a different one. So what comes after certain verbs? What form do we use after certain verbs? Yes. I'd advise you to think it over and stop dwelling on the past, the gerund form. Thank you, Giacomo. Excellent. So let me explain to you a few things. So you use gerunds after certain verbs. I'm typing these for you. After certain verbs like enjoy, discuss, dislike, suggest, recommend, keep, avoid, stop. What else do we have here? Nope, that sounds good. So use gerunds after certain verbs like enjoy, discuss, dislike, suggest, recommend, keep, avoid, and stop. After prepositions. And as the subject of the sentence. So you use gerunds after certain verbs: enjoy, discuss, dislike, suggest, recommend, keep, avoid, and stop. So in these examples, we have, in the exercise, we have, I have to find it. Oh, I'd avoid rocking, stop dwelling. I enjoyed discussing this with you. I enjoy studying grammar for some reason. And let me tell you, okay, so to plus infinitive, you use it after certain other verbs. Agree, ask, decide, help, Plan, learn, want, would, like. So after certain verbs, we use it after many adjectives. So gerunds after prepositions, to plus infinitive after adjectives. It's easy to start learning. It's fun to study English. Um, yes, it's fun to study English on a Friday night. I'm glad you're here with me. I hope everyone has a cocktail. Do you have a cocktail with you? If you are studying English during your aperitivo, I hope you are having a cocktail. I hope you're having an aperitivo now. Tell me in the comments if you are. And finally, so we have the bare infinitive. That's after a modal. So can, should, etc. Will, may, might. Um, After let, make, and help for some reason. Help, you can use the bare infinitive and the to plus infinitive. It depends on the situation, so be careful with that. And finally, it is expressions with why. So why leave the party now? It just got started. So that's an example of expressions with why. So, or a question, why go to the store? We don't need anything. Ah, I am not having any aperitivo, but I know I want to drink some wine. If you do, can you bring me a glass, please? Just a little bit, because I still have 10 more minutes of work. All right, so I'm sure this is exactly what you wanted. The most difficult grammar lesson. Uh, I'm thank you for being here. So good advice. Good advice that I have in this situation. Good advice is read a lot. Get read a lot of things by English speakers, by native English speakers, and watch a lot of TV in the original language. You'll get an ear for all of these things. Uh, Next slide. So we have a problem. Tell me, dealing with problems. So this is a hypothetical problem, and I would like to see what your responses are. So how would you deal with this problem? Ever since you moved to a different city, your mother has been bugging you about moving back and has been making you feel guilty. Option one, sounds like my mother. Option one, you should talk to her to help her understand that your decision to move doesn't mean you love or think any less of her. Think of her any less. Think any less of her. It's the same. Option two, you mustn't leave an aging mother alone. Move back. Guilt. Guilt. Option three, it's easy to visit every weekend. You're still in the same country, so it's a few hours away. It's fine. It's great. Yes. Thank you. Cheers, guys. Clink. Chin chin. We'll take a sip. Mm. Happy Friday. Okay, so we have dealing with problems. How do you deal with this problem? Tell me. Option one, option two, or option three? Or explain to me why option one, two, or three is silly advice or good advice. In the meantime, I should really have some more bad advice lined up for you. I really enjoyed doing that. So let's look on the internet. Bad advice. Bad advice. 15 good pieces of bad advice. That doesn't look very good. Oh, that looks too serious. No, no. We can't have serious bad advice. Let's see. Let's see. Put bacon on your face or put prosciutto on your face for clear skin. That's bad advice. It's also, I don't know why that was a response on Google. That I did see that on the internet. You put prosciutto on your face so you can have nice glowing skin. That's good bad advice. Oh, I have good advice. So treat advisors and mentors like doctors. They have only one area of expertise. If you need advice in if you need advice in what they don't know, ask for a referral. A referral is you ask if they can give you someone else's information so you can talk to someone else. Um, a referral is sending you to someone else. That is good advice. It's actually very good advice. Treat advisors and mentors like doctors. You wouldn't go to your general well, you wouldn't go to a throat doctor. That's a better example. A throat doctor for a problem with your hand. So if you ask for advice and they don't have the expertise that you need, ask if they know anyone who would know. Some good questions might be um, is there anyone else I can talk to? Do you know anyone else in this field? Do you know anyone who has tried or done this? These are good questions to help get you better advice than what you've got. Don't be afraid to ask for more. We're getting too serious here. Cheers. Okay, so we have some answers. I Okay, so Lavinia says option 3 is the best. Yeah. Giacomo says the same thing. If I have to stick to those 3, I'll go for 3. 3 is it's easy to visit every weekend. You're in the same country. Giacomo commented option 4. I would yell at her to stop bothering me and and I'm visiting when I feel like it. Future. Which yeah, I'm visiting when I feel like it. So I will visit when I feel like it. That's a little more correct, but because we use am visiting for specific times in the future. So I am going to bed at midnight. Uh, I guess when I feel like it is a specific time. Darn it, Giacomo. Darn it. You and your good English. I will visit when I feel like it. Yes, I am visiting when I feel like it. Do you have any other advice, anyone? Okay, let's see. Nope. Nope. So To finish, I would like to end on an actually challenging grammatical activity. So match the modal phrases to the advice. Tell me one, A, two, nah, what the answer is. So number one, you mustn't. And your possible answers, wait, which side is it? This one. Your possible answers, I don't know what I'm doing, are A, you to think things through. B, be down on yourself. C, not to give up so quickly. D, giving it your best shot. E, treat people better. F, taking some time off. So remember what we talked about with our gerunds and our two infinitives. And we have some modal phrases, kind of. Uh, some are definitely, oh yeah, no, I'd is a modal, but they come after different verbs. So you might use a different form. So tell me in the comments. So one, you mustn't. Anyone? You mustn't be down on yourself. That means don't beat yourself up. Don't be too hard on yourself. Give yourself a break. These all mean the same things. You mustn't be down on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Don't be too hard on yourself and give yourself a break. Good advice. You should treat people better. You should treat people better. That is my advice to you. Treat people better. I'd recommend taking some time off. Yes. Spend the weekend. I don't want to encourage you not to study English, but you can watch a lot of TV in English. Yeah. If you're reading or watching anything good, tell me in the comments. I'd encourage you to think things through. That means think a little bit more about it. Look for more options. I'd suggest giving it your best shot. So I would suggest. After suggest is one of those verbs that you use a gerund with. So I'd suggest giving it your best shot. And I'd urge you not to give up so quickly. I'd urge you not to give up so quickly. Give up means the same thing as give in. It means to quit. We only have 1 minute. Do you have any questions for me? And while we are doing that, I will review a little bit. So with our three options, our gerunds, you use them after certain verbs like enjoy, discuss, dislike, suggest, recommend, keep, avoid, and stop. And then after prepositions. So after eating dinner, watch some TV. So, or, oh, that's advice. After eating dinner, watch some TV. That's a commandment. Command, not a commandment. That is a command. I only had like one sip of wine. What is? Uh, so after eating, or I'm just really hungry. That's it. Before going to class, make sure you review your grammar. Before you do a lesson, do the warm up. Before doing a lesson, do the warm up. That is what we're doing here. Anyway, to plus infinitive after verbs, specifically agree. I agree to. I ask uh, someone to. You can use you can split that. So ask someone and have an object. Ask someone to do something for you. Decide to stop watching this webinar. And then after many adjectives, like it's fun to study English. It's fun, adjective, to study English. And then the bare infinitive after a modal, can, should, etc. You use a bare infinitive. So you mustn't be down on yourself. After let, make, and help, but there's some crossover with the to plus infinitive. So be careful with that, and expressions with why. So why not have a glass of wine now? Our lesson is over. All right. Thank you, everyone, so much. It has been a pleasure to be here. I hope you all have learned something. I hope you all have a happy Easter, and take care this weekend. So, bye.